Hello everyone! I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today we are going to talk about vanity publishers. Now, some of y'all may be wondering, what exactly constitutes a vanity publisher? There are traditional publishers, so some that come to mind are Penguin Publishing, Random House, all those big names. And then indie publishers are smaller press publishers. And then, of course, we have self-publishing, which is where the author just does the whole process themselves. And then we have vanity publishers. Where exactly does that fit in the ecosystem? So vanity publishers really got started before self-publishing was really a thing. Back in the day, vanity publishing was the only route for self-publishing, which is why a lot of the old guard really looks down on self-published authors, because they see them as the same as going through a vanity press. A vanity press is where you pay them, like, a large sum of money, and they will take your manuscript and they will make it into a book. The whole layout process, which is a whole process, y'all. You can't just upload your Word document to, Amazon and call it a book or, a PDF or whatever. That's not how it works. Like, you actually have to put the text and arrange it so that it's an actual book visually. And there's a lot of rules with that, the actual spacing, that the words need to be a certain amount of space away from the edges of the page on all sides, that there needs to be a certain amount of space in the middle where it's called the gutter. When you open the book, this part, the middle part, that's called the gutter. And you need your words a certain amount of space away from the gutter, because otherwise they get lost in the gutter. I'm sure you've probably come across some books where they didn't do a good job of spacing the words away from the gutter, and you have to peel the pages kind of out of the spine to read it, and nobody likes that. That's why spacing is important. And then also, the spacing of the words away from each other in, each individual line of text, the spacing between paragraphs, all of that technical formatting, that's book layout. So that's kind of what you're paying these vanity publishers to do for you, is to do the whole book layout process. A lot of them will also create a book cover for you, that you don't have to go about that they have a stable of people that provide book art. And then the biggest thing, which is kind of the scammy part of it, is the marketing of the book. They make high pie-in-the-sky claims that they're going to make your book be a bestseller and blah, 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 and put it everywhere and all that. And then people after the fact will be like, I've only sold a handful of copies of my book. This is not what I was promised. And therein lies the scam aspect of these vanity publishers, is that they have a website where they will feature all of these poor souls that, they convinced to pay them to publish their books. And that's kind of it. They don't really advertise your books for you, or if they do, it's very formulaic and very bare minimum. You're not going to get TV interviews, and you're not going to go viral and all this other stuff. They're going to promise you all that stuff, but they're not actually going to do it. And even if they say they're going to do that, it's going to be the same way that traditional publishers, they only do that with people that they believe or are their bestsellers, people that are actually, shooting for the moon and stuff. If your story, they don't consider it very good, your story's not going to get that kind of attention. It's just going to kind of sit at the bottom of the list and languish. And the reason why I'm explaining this, because I had a video in the past where I explained what vanity publishers are and why you should avoid them and all that, but we're taking it a step further today, because lately I have seen a lot of people just over and over again on these writing forums ask the question of, how do I know if a publisher is a vanity press and is not legit? And how bad is it really to publish through a vanity press? And so a lot of the people that are considering publishing through a vanity press, even though they know what they are, as opposed to self-publishing, is these people, for whatever reason, don't want to do all of the work in publishing your own book. And that means, you have to either lay out the book yourself, do all that technical stuff yourself, or you have to pay somebody to do it, and you have to find a person to pay to do it and, make sure they're reputable and they'll actually do it and do a good job. And then, you have to make your own book cover, or you have to pay somebody to make the book cover and, find that person, make sure they're reputable, blah, blah, blah. All of that's a lot of work. And then also the biggest one, because no author likes marketing their book. Nobody likes doing it. It's a necessary evil. That's a big part of it too, is they're if I just hand this off to them, will they market it for me and then I can just live happily ever after and collect my royalty checks? And unfortunately, in most cases, the answer is no. is I have a bridge to sell you kind of thing, and you're going to end up having to market it yourself. And then the worst part, you've signed away the copyright to that book to this vanity publisher. So now it's not legally yours anymore. So you can't just take it away from them and decide to publish it elsewhere or publish it yourself or do other stuff with it. Like, they own it now. And that's the biggest thing that y'all should be wary of, is where you decide to publish your book. Because once it leaves your control, once you go outside of self-publishing, it does not legally belong to you anymore. And you have to understand what that means. Because I have seen some authors go through that, where they then think that they're like, I'm not pleased with what this vanity publisher is doing with my book. I'm just going to take it and I'm going to publish it somewhere else and publish it myself. And then they get sued for their own book. I know, crazy, but yes, you legally can get sued over your own book because you signed over the rights. Absolutely read the fine print. Make sure you understand what you're signing up for. Like, be careful. It's your IP. Like, protect it. Absolutely protect it, y'all. I see so many people flinging their manuscripts everywhere and just not a care in the world. And then that day comes when something terrible happens. Like, be careful. Like, you can get stuff stolen from you. You can get sued. It's the Wild West out there. Protect your stuff. And of course, the next question that I see along these lines of talking about vanity publishers is, well, how do I know if an organization is a vanity publisher as opposed to an honest-to-goodness traditional publisher or indie press? And the number one red flag is they ask you for money. So if you ever get approached by any organization claiming to be a publisher, if they ask you to pay for anything, run. Nope. No, thank you. You should not have to pay to be published. Now, this is specifically, I want to be very specific, y'all, okay? This is specifically in terms of for your book to be published by that publisher. You don't pay a dime. In fact, most of the time they will give you an advance and they will pay you for the book. And again, that all has to do with the contract that you're going to sign with them. Make sure you read that over very carefully. Even better, have a lawyer read over it and have them let you know what they think of it. Because there are a lot of people that will sign some very predatory contracts without realizing it. So make sure you know what you're signing up for. But rule number one, if they ask you to pay to be published, no, absolutely not. Do not. Now, they may ask you, depending on, if they're a small press, an indie press, that kind of thing, they may ask you to pay for certain aspects. So, as an example, my publisher, Inksmith Publishing, that I published Love of the See-Through, is an indie small press. And so, I didn't pay a dime for my book to be published. They pay me. They pay me regular royalties for my book. I don't pay them. What they did ask me to pay for, and this was kind of like, the mutual trust thing of, we're investing in publishing your book, and we're just going to ask you to please invest this as your part in this book being published. They asked me to front the cost of the copyright of my manuscript. That's what they asked me to pay for, which was like $100. Whoop-de-doo. Like, not a big deal. And a big part of why they asked me to do that is because, as per the contract, me doing that, I retain the legal rights of my story. So they retain first publishing rights. And after a certain amount of years, the manuscript legally 100% across the board becomes mine, and I can do whatever the hell I want with it. But me registering the copyright, and not only that, me registering the copyright through Illinois Copyright and not where the publisher is based out of, extra legally makes the story mine. So that's like a big part of it, y'all, is that they also wanted to show good faith that, like, we're not just going to steal your story from you. Like, you still retain rights over your story. We're going to work together as a team, not we're taking your story away from you. That was a good faith investment that I made. Whereas the vanity press will say, oh, it's an upfront charge of $500, $1,000, whatever, and that cost, we throw in the layout art, the book cover, this marketing package, blah, 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 whatever. A lot of them will have tiered systems too, where if you pay more, you get more claimed shit, whatever. That's a vanity press. Real publishers, they don't do that. They don't make you pay for things. There's no tiered system. There's none of that shit. They're like, we have decided to make the investment in publishing your book, and they take on those costs. And that's why the contract matters, is because it's supposed to be they take on these upfront costs, and then you pay for them via your book sales. And that's why royalties are a thing, is that you get a percentage of the book sales, and the publisher holds the lion's share of the book sales to then recuperate that upfront cost of publishing your book. It's a gamble. That is how it's supposed to work. Whereas these vanity presses know your book probably isn't going to sell for shit. And honestly, they don't care. They are not interested in book sales. They don't give a shit about book sales. That's not their business model. Their business model is charging people who desperately want their book to be published, and then giving them, what they ask for, a book. It's an honest to goodness book that you can buy in bulk, wholesale, and sell at conventions and whatever to your heart's content. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to do the work. And they'll list it on their website and whatever and call it a day. They don't actually do anything beyond, here, we made it into a book. Congratulations. Yay, you're an author. Woo. Yeah, that's what a vanity publisher is. So do they charge you? Say no. Look at their website. How many books have they published? That is a red flag if they have published too many books in a year. That means they're probably a vanity press, because most publishers, big or small, doesn't matter, will only take on a certain number of publications each year because publishing is expensive. That upfront cost is expensive. It's a big risk. So if they're publishing thousands of books a year, ask yourself why. Why are they publishing so many books? Because even big names like Penguin and Random House do not publish that many books a year. They don't. So if they're publishing too many books a year, red flag. Look up the other books on their website, who they've published. Go Google those books and those authors and see what they come up with. Are there interviews with this author? How much publicity do they have? You can also find stats on their book sales and stuff like that. How good are their book sales doing? And also, because it's a small world after all, you can even contact those other authors and ask them, hey, I see you've been published by this publisher. How's it going? Do you recommend them? Are they doing a good job with your book? Do you feel like they're handling marketing and sales really well? Go ahead and ask them, because a lot of authors are more than happy to help you out and give you honest feedback about their publisher. If I had any authors that came to me being hey, I'm considering having my book published under Inksmith Publishing, can you tell me about them? More than happy, 1,000%. That's talking shop. Authors have real authors anyway, who know their value in the industry. It's you get and you give. You gotta give. You have to be willing to help out other authors too. That's a big part of it. And so, yeah, we talk a lot of shop where we'll be hey, this publisher, awesome, great, send them all your stuff. This publisher, terrible, absolutely scam. Don't touch them with a 10-foot pole. Good authors will give you that feedback. Go ahead, ask them, hey, I saw you're published under this publisher. What do you think? Should I publish with them? Da-da-da. And make sure you send it to more than just one person, because they'll also have dummy authors on their sites if it's a really bad scam, and you'll end up talking to a bot or a person that is part of the vanity press scam, and they'll just be oh yeah, it's really awesome, please give us your money. Make sure that you message a few different ones, do your research and all that. And then that's the third thing. Do your research. Oh my God. The amount of these people that ask this question in writing forums, that it's just sweetie pie, a simple Google search would have answered this for you, that they're terrible. Y'all, this is also part of why, and I know I talk about this a lot, just in general, in my videos, on my Facebook, everywhere, a lot. I hate AI so much. Oh my God, I hate it. This is another reason why I hate it, y'all, is I feel like AI has made everyone into a blithering idiot, in that, people don't, it doesn't occur to them anymore that it's just go Google something. Just go do some research. Ask Google a question. Go Google the name of the publisher that has contacted you and be hey, is this a scam? What information is there out there about this publisher? What are other people saying about this publisher? Just 10 minutes on Google will reveal quite a lot, typically. And then, of course, number 4, that they contacted you. Red flag, okay? And I know so many of you so many of you want to believe it. We all want to believe it, you know, when we get approached with that, you know, magic offer that's too good to be true, and typically it is too good to be true, unfortunately. Publishers will not contact you. That's not a thing. For specifically, I want to be specific again, that is not a thing that you, as a brand new baby author, baby's first book, a publisher is not going to contact you. You have to go to them. The only time where a publisher will approach you is in the instance, and this has happened to several people, and yay for them, amazing, it's like winning the lottery, honestly, is someone who was either self-published or they're published under a small press publisher, and their book does amazing, does all the numbers, just amazing, through the roof sales, just lightning in a bottle, goes viral, all that. Then a big publisher might approach you, but that's because you've proven your worth, you've proven the numbers, you're a sure thing. That's why they're approaching you, is you're a good business opportunity. You, who has never published a book before, has zero track record, just is like, here's my first book. Publisher does not care. You are a risk. Period. End of sentence. Like, they have no way of knowing if your book is going to do amazing or it's going to absolutely tank. You have to approach them. They won't approach you. So if they approach you out of the blue and they claim to be a big publisher, red flag. Because it is so hard to get published by the big names. A lot of them, you can't even submit your stuff to them. They don't even let you do that. You have to go through an agent, a literary agent. So in order to get published by like Penguin or Random House or one of those big publishers, you have to first get yourself a literary agent, and then the literary agent will then shop your book to those publishers. Like, you don't get to do that. You're a peasant. Like, you are not worthy. And then on top of that, getting a literary agent is a whole other thing. That's just as difficult as getting a publisher to publish your book. Like, it's the same process that you have to pitch to the literary agent, just like you have to pitch to the publisher. They have all their rules about how and when to do it and all that. And again, do your research. Don't just fling your manuscript out into the internet. Like, don't do that. Please don't do that. Like, do your research. Make sure that you know where you're sending your manuscript. Make sure they're legit and who they say they are. Make sure that, like, they're not a vanity press. And make sure that you read that contract before you sign on the dotted line. Make sure you understand legally what you are signing, because you could end up signing away all the rights to your book and then you are just donezo. That has happened where it's like, you don't even get your book. You just signed it away and paid for the privilege. Like, there are scams like that and they suck. There's so many predators out there that will just straight up steal your book. So please be careful and do your research. So yeah. So verdict, vanity presses are bad. My advice, simple. Do not publish with vanity presses. I know it is tempting to have someone else do the work. Just remember, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So either publish it yourself or go through all the blood, sweat, and tears of applying to have your book published by a publisher. So I hope you all found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to give it a like. And if you're new, subscribe. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.